You're listening to Inside Lebo, a podcast giving you an inside look at Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, produced by Mount Lebanon's Public Information Office.
Hello and welcome to Inside Lebo. I'm your host, Assistant Municipal Manager and Municipal Planner Ian McMeans.
And I'm Rachel Windsor, Mount Lebanon's Assistant Public Information Officer and the Senior Editor of Mount Lebanon Magazine. And today's episode is brought to you by Truber's Jewelry. So today we are talking about a new law that is in Pennsylvania called Paul Miller's Law, Senate Bill 37. It's named in honor of Paul Miller, who was killed by a distracted driver in 2010. Governor Shapiro recently signed it into law on June 5th, 2025, so our police force has had a couple of months under their belt enforcing the new law. So today, Mount Lebanon Police Chief Jason Haberman is joining us to tell us more about the law. So Chief, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me. It's a very important subject and something we take very seriously, and we appreciate the opportunity to highlight it.
Great. So let's just start with the basics. What is the Paul Miller Law?
Well, as Rachel said, Paul Miller unfortunately died in a traffic crash due to the result of a distracted driver in 2010. Through a series of legislative events, they passed a law which came into effect on June 5th of this past year. And that gives us a grace period until June 5th of 2026 until we can actually cite for the law and cite for the offense. But in the period of the first year, we are allowed to stop and warn drivers, educate them, inform them of the dangers of distracted driving, recognize how dangerous distracted driving has become, and really what a risk to the community that distracted drivers pose.
Great. And so even at red lights, drivers can't use their phones, correct?
That's correct. And if you look at the definition of the law, the law defines handheld devices as holding or supporting a mobile device with a part of your body or having to press more than one button to pick up a phone call. So essentially, those are the guidelines that the law defines as a mobile device. You are allowed to have integrated devices for GPS purposes that are either with a vehicle or add on to the vehicle. But things that take more than one button to push to answer a watch or anything like that, or your hands-free system on your Apple Play or any of your other proprietary type integrated software, that's what is defined as a limitation and prohibited by the law.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about that during this sort of first year period after the law was signed into effect, that we're just citing people as kind of an educational campaign. So how is the police department sort of enforcing the law, and how is it plan to work with it moving forward?
Yeah, so right now, through a series of events, this being one of them, we're really going out there and trying to educate the public and inform them that this law is in fact in effect. Currently, if our officers do stop somebody and they happen to be utilizing a device or utilizing a cell phone or distracted and they're and violating the law as it's written, we'll give them an informational card that PennDOT has produced in conjunction with the state in order to inform them that there is a $50 fine that will be coming down plus cost, again, significant number. And again, it's a no points violation, but all of that is on our informational cards that we've been handing out and allowing drivers to understand being distracted is a problem and really can be a hazard. In addition to drivers of vehicles, we're also doing the same for bicyclists and pedestrians as well in terms of informing them. So we've had our bicycle officers out 6 times this summer on 6 separate targeted driver and pedestrian details. We've had over 200 contacts with individuals to educate them and inform them on, in fact, what those distracted driving results could be, and none of those are good. We've described this as really being our number one risk today, sort of what DUI was a number of years ago. Due to ride sharing and other things and awareness and education, DUIs have significantly decreased in recent years. And so what we've seen now is distracted driving appears to be the number one threat that we face in terms of our motoring public.
So have your officers seen any changes in distracted driving since the new law was enacted this summer?
I think it's too early to tell in terms of any data set that we can evaluate. And as we do that, we'll continue to look at those things. Over the next 12 months, we'll obviously look and identify either targeted areas where maybe, again, we see a higher propensity for people to utilize their devices. But we will say that right now there's nothing data-wise that we can point to that reduces the amount of people that are distracted while they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly this isn't just another law in the books. It actually has day-to-day implications for all drivers through Mount Lebanon, not just Mount Lebanon residents, but everyone passing through the community, whether they're taking the main thoroughfare of Washington Road or Bower Hill Road or Cochran Road to get to other destinations outside the community. So we'll discuss a little bit more about what it means for residents after a quick word from our sponsor, Truvers Jewelry.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry? At Truvers Jewelry, you're not just a customer, you're part of the family. Locally owned by Mount Lebanon residents Rob and Kay Truver, Truvers has specialized in exquisite craftsmanship and custom jewelry design for over 30 years. Rob is an expert goldsmith, ensuring your jewelry is created with the utmost skill and care. Whether you're looking for something timeless or one of a kind, Truvers delivers it all. Visit us at the corner of West Liberty and Piermont Avenue or check us out online at truvers.com. At Truvers, it's personal.
And welcome back to Inside Lebo. So before the break, we talked about the history behind Paul Miller's Law and how the Mount Lebanon Police Department is enforcing it. So we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about what residents specifically need to know. So the police had an event earlier this month with Move Lebo, which is a local advocacy group that works on transportation issues. And they together showed residents how to set up hands-free technology in cars. So Chief, can you tell us how that went and what you showed residents?
Yeah, so that event is designed to show residents how to integrate devices into their vehicles. Again, whether it's Apple Play or any of those things. So really it's another opportunity for us to engage with the public to teach them ways that they can minimize distracted driving and ways that they can improve their attention to the road and attention to their surroundings. So it's really something that we will continue to do with Move Lebo and other partners that we work with.
Great. And if people still need assistance setting up hands-free tech in their cars, is there local resources they can go to get assistance?
Yeah, I think Move Lebo is really the best place to direct them to. Anything else we have associated with Move Lebo, we'll put on their website and put out. I know they've been putting out a series of informational bulletins, and we'll continue to partner with them as well.
Great. And some people have questions about how the law applies to other devices like smartwatches and tablets. So can people use any handheld devices while they're in the driver's seat?
Again, as I said earlier, sort of referencing the definition that was established in the legislation, it's anything that takes more than one finger or one button to operate. So that's the definition as we know it. That's even while you're stopped at a red light or while the vehicle moving, and so that's the important part. The other thing that we've tried to educate everybody on is through our Pace Yourself campaign, which is pedestrians, automobiles, cyclists, and everyone, that everybody being distracted can be a risk, whether it's a pedestrian walking on their phone or a cyclist or, again, any member of the motoring public, especially because of the risk associated with operating a vehicle, is much more significant. However, everybody can improve their safety and improve their minimize their risk in terms of injury and injuring others, the less distracted they are when they're out in public.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to follow up on something else you mentioned. So you said anything that involves more than one button. So if you're driving and you get a phone call, you're allowed to press the one button to answer that and talk on the phone while you're driving. You're just not allowed to text people or whatever else on your phone, search for navigation directions, anything like that.
Well, you can answer your hands-free device.
Okay.
With one button, correct.
Okay.
But you can't answer.
You can't hold it up to your head
correct,
and talk
yeah,
on the phone.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha. So that's the importance of looping together the hands-free technology
Right.
in the cars with the car speaker system, or if you have an old car like I do that doesn't have that, then put your phone on speakerphone if somebody calls, right?
Well, there's devices you can buy that actually, even if you're on speakerphone, technically you're violating the law by utilizing a cell phone. Essentially, if you are putting it, if you're trying to, again, fumble with a separate device. The idea is if you have, there's a bunch of aftermarket products you can buy that will allow your cell phone to pipe through to a Bluetooth speaker on your sun visor or somewhere else, that you can just hit one button and it will retrieve your phone calls and amplify them through a speaker.
Gotcha.
So there's a number of options that are out there, very low cost, very budget friendly for anybody to utilize, regardless of when your vehicle was built, and the sort of, different software that's on it. So that's what we would recommend. Utilize something like that. Then there's no risk to you trying to fumble with a separate device, which they found to be the biggest issue as well, in addition to not only utilizing it, but keeping track of it, trying to keep it in a cup holder, you reach over, it knocks off your seat, everything associated with having your phone not secure. So it is a big problem, obviously. This was a bipartisan bill that everybody, agrees with in terms of the risk to the public. So we're very happy. And you mentioned earlier, it will be a significant change, and it is for us as well. So we are educating everybody, that we serve, and everybody within our agency and everybody else. So very limited exception to this law.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and especially for a community like ours that is so walkable and has so many people out using the streets all the time, beyond people driving cars, people biking, people walking, people jogging and running. And I read an article last year about how headlights have gotten brighter, and headlight technology has made it harder to drive at night because the lights are just brighter, and it's harder to see other things nowadays. So I think it's really important to, like you said earlier, Chief, to just be able to keep as much focus and attention on the roadway as you can, because there's so much stuff going on just around you when you're driving, and especially in our community, there's a lot of people out using the streets as well. So just as a final question then, if people have any questions about the law and its applicability, is there a good resource, whether it's online, through the police department, somewhere else that they can go look it up?
Yeah, so obviously PennDOT has a lot of things online in terms of what Paul Miller law is. There's the handouts and the informative brochures that we have piggyback off of really what the messaging that they have. So really I'd refer you to those websites. We obviously put stuff up when we can in terms of updating it regarding of any local applicability. And again, anything that we do in terms of our pedestrian or vehicle enforcement, we always put out there, let everybody know that's what we'll be doing. Again, this is also an opportunity I'd like to add to really identify some new functionality to your mobile devices. There are do not disturb features. There are things on your mobile devices that maybe you haven't used before that you can utilize to let people know that either you're driving, or you're obviously not able to answer the phone, or you're obviously not able to talk. So I think it's a great opportunity for everybody to maybe change their habits. I've said it before when we talked about pace yourself. It's really about sort of a shifting of understanding of expectations, and whether that's, the expectation that you're always immediately available, or that you have to leave somewhere a little bit early in order to allow for things to occur. Whatever that is, it really will help to shift that understanding and that recognition that everybody is in the same place. And so they know that expectation is not so high for that immediate response. And I think that needs to holistically be understood, whether it's from, whatever, in personal relationship, professional relationship, whatever that may be. And I think that that's something that will really help us, from our perspective, to really minimize the incidence of distracted driving, because they have caused significant amounts of death and injury, and these are things we're trying to prevent. And I think that it really is a habit-forming change that you have to work on, whether that's your use of social media, whether that's, again, how you typically will update text messaging or update your phone calls, and how you're doing that. So I think that's something that's a great opportunity for us to do. Again, I think we find that if you have people in the car with you, ask them to help you, ask them to be your designated texter, as it's come to be known, and really those are things that we can offer to, really change your habits and change the safety of everybody involved.
Absolutely. Well, Chief Haberman, thank you so much for joining us and letting Mount Lebanon know more about Paul Miller's law, and hopefully it'll keep drivers and pedestrians safer on our roads.
I appreciate it, and thank you.
That's all for this edition of Inside Lebo, brought to you by Trouvers Jewelry and produced by Marcia Morgenstern, with music by Drew Monyo and graphics by Amy Robinson. Be sure to subscribe for future episodes, and we'll see you next time with more from Mount Lebanon.
Thanks for listening to Inside Lebo, produced by Mount Lebanon's Public Information Office. Learn more about all things Lebo at mountlebanon.org or by following our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages.